Start tonight with breaking news in Placer and El Dorado County. The Mosquito Fire is picking up speed and taking aim at Foresthill. More than 50,000 acres have burned and it is now 25% contained. Good evening. I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for joining us. Take a look. I want to show you the evacuation map. The areas in red are now under mandatory evacuation orders. Those in yellow have an evacuation warning. You can see evacuation orders and warnings have been extended all the way to Auburn tonight. Placer County deputies shared this incredible video saying they've evacuated more than 6,000 people, but 90 people refuse to leave. And so we do have live team coverage, starting with ABC 10's Giacomo Luca with the latest on the firefight in Foresthill. What can you tell us, Giacomo?
Well, Chris, I know it has been an all-hands-on-deck firefight since that fire really kicked up this afternoon, showing intense fire activity. And you can see just how dangerously close the fire burned here into the town of Foresthill, narrowly sparing it just behind us. And off in the distance, you can see some cars that have been burned in a parking lot just across from the high school and destroying these cars, as well as it looks like a structure right there. But that firefight continues. Firefighters continue their relentless attack on the Mosquito Fire. Shifting winds Tuesday afternoon are challenging crews tonight as the fire burns in Foresthill, narrowly sparing much of the town.
Crews did a tremendous job with all kinds of assets, using firing operations, using engines, hand crews, dozers, and aircraft to prevent this major destruction in this town.
Smoke has reduced visibility, making the firefight challenging. At least 25 structures burned previous to tonight, but that count will rise in the following days. Officials say once crews have time to assess new damages. The flames you're seeing behind me are all part of a firing operation happening along Todd Valley Road. When conditions are favorable, firefighters like to use this tactic to burn off extra fuels that could pose a risk later. Hundreds have evacuated the area, but some have stayed behind and watching the firefight from their property, like Craig Hilt.
Watch the fire for a little while and keep an eye on it and then try to decide what to do.
He's paying close attention to the fire and says he's ready to go on a moment's notice, but hopes he doesn't have to. He's offering thanks tonight as hundreds of firefighters work to protect his community.
The work everybody's doing, yeah, it's fantastic. So yeah, it's just nonstop. It's nice to see everybody coming in and working out. It's funny how everything gets to be this big effort, and they just, once they put their minds to it, everybody just kind of puts a gigantic fire out. So it's fantastic.
And that firefight continues this evening. Crews remain determined to do everything they can to get this fire contained. Obviously, many folks still have many questions, such as when they can be allowed back in. We expect that date to come, at least that answer to come well after these fire starts to get knocked down a little bit more. Send it back to you.
Our Giacomo Luca reporting live for us tonight. Giacomo, you be safe. We thank you for a look at some of the conditions that they're facing there. Keep in mind, it could be several days before we know the full extent of the damage. And as Giacomo mentioned, the firefight continues. ABC 10's Luke Clary is on the fire lines with more.
When you walk down Mosquito Ridge Road and look south, you can see just how steep and rugged the terrain is here. When you turn and look to the north, you'll see just how close the fire burned to these structures.
Rolling smoke and charred tree trunks tell the tale of the furious fight to save homes in Foresthill. Houses and mobile homes still standing at the Y of Foresthill Road and Mosquito Ridge Road. Earlier in the afternoon, behind Borton's Market.
And if we just look right down here, you can see some of the brush that's on fire right now. It looks alarming, but this is actually part of a backburn operation by CAL FIRE crews.
To help reduce the fuels from coming up the hill and they'll back down towards where the head of the fire is, hopefully to limit the further spread of that fire.
But not everything remained unscathed. In a car lot near Foresthill High School,
looks like trucks, a trailer, a number of vehicles have gone up in the fire and now just remain here as just burnt out shells.
Some of the most significant property loss and damage we found, but the school itself remained undamaged.
Pre-treated, it's down to bare mineral soil, and that's going to help with the slowing of the spread of that fire. especially with the fire break that we have here as the road.
There were more positive signs further ahead.
And as we walk down Forest Hill's historic business district, these Western saloon-style storefronts still in good condition tonight.
Much of Forest Hill looks good tonight, but the fight is far from over.
And as we look at all the businesses and homes that are still standing, we know that those damage assessments will take some time to complete. And the story of how Forest Hill and other mountain towns weather the Mosquito Fire is still being written.
Indeed. As a matter of fact, ABC 10's Kurt Rivera spent the day with firefighters. He has a closer look at the steps they are taking to save homes and property.
Well, we are along Mosquito Ridge Road, and the winds for most of the day have been very, very erratic, and that has contributed to this fire. In fact, I'm going to step away here. You can look at crews now mopping up hot spots because about 5:30 or so earlier today, the fire jumped Mosquito Ridge Road, went towards the town there where those homes are, and firefighters, though, were on structure protection, and they knocked it out as soon as they could. But I'll tell you what, it got very, very dicey here when those winds kicked up. Now, this home right here is the closest to actually seeing some pretty severe damage, because as the winds kicked up, the fire jumped into the property and hit some trees. There were some spot fires, but again, firefighters were already at the ready waiting with a water truck and knocked some of those fires down. So the bottom line here on Mosquito Ridge Road, on the outskirts of Forest Hill, this is where the firefight is. This is the front lines of the fire, and the firefighters have done an amazing job here to stop the fire so far in its tracks.
And not far from the Mosquito Fire, the Dutch Fire also forced evacuations today. It started off I-80 and Dutch Flat in Placer County around 3 p.m. and even closed parts of the interstate. Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods is standing by with a look at conditions now.
Well, it was interesting. I heard somebody explain today's conditions like if you had a fireplace and opened up the damper and all of a sudden that oxygen just flowed on in, really fanning the flames and giving life to this fire. The orange is the old perimeter, the red, the new perimeter. Zooming in just a little bit closer around the Forest Hill area, you can see how those winds right now are more downslope. Very typical fire behavior for the overnight hours. As that fire starts to go down into the canyons, it's a better opportunity for the firefight here, and you can see that on the east flank as well. So it's a mixed bag of news here. The good, cooler and higher humidity today. The bad, as Kurt was mentioning, gusty and erratic winds. Temperature-wise, we're only in the 50s for the foothills, 60s for the valley. A cool night tonight, but here's a look at those winds. Overnight tonight, again, they are going to be downslope, but during the day tomorrow, they're going to turn once again upslope with that onshore flow. Putting it into numbers, light winds for tonight into early tomorrow, but by the afternoon, we are right back at it. Look at those winds, how they pick up during the afternoon. A very similar situation to today. The big outlier, though, this low pressure system out in the Pacific. As it starts to move closer to the coast, we get the opportunity for showers, but also some more erratic winds. Tonight, though, lows falling into the upper 50s to low 60s. A cool but breezy day ahead for tomorrow, Chris.